In this video, we're going to be reviewing the all-new 2020 Porsche Cayenne. And so, without any further ado, let's get into it. But before starting this video, I would like to say that we are a considerably new channel, and the main USP of our channel is to provide one of the most detailed reviews out there. So if you're interested in such detailed reviews, I think pressing that red subscribe button would be a great opinion. Also, a very special thanks to Porsche Chandigarh Center for lending us this beautiful, amazing car for a review. They have an amazing inventory of many Porsche cars. Check them out using the links in the description below. And with that said, let's finally start the review of the 2020 Porsche Cayenne. Now, whenever we hear the word Porsche, we always think of one of the best engineered cars in the world. But if you look at it, Porsches are actually one of the most beautiful cars on the road. They come up with some of the most ingenious ideas, such as one that I'm going to just tell you right now. When we look at the front end, however, it may seem like it's the same as the previous generations, but it does change when we move on to the back, and that makes a world of a difference. Talking about some styling cues here in the front end, I just like the front fascia of this car. Being a sports SUV, they have to make it sleek, yet at the same time, this car has such a bold front fascia, which makes a really good road presence for this car. We have smoked out designs everywhere. If you look at the headlamp array, it's a completely smoked out headlamp array. We have 4 sets of quad LEDs, projector headlamp setup, which looks really nice. But there's one thing that you must be wondering, and that's the ingenious idea that I'm coming to right now, and that is, you're paying for such an expensive car, right? But doesn't have DRLs? Well, it does. If you look at it over here, you see these slats over here, which may seem like 3 slats when you look at it from the front. This top slat over here is actually the DRLs of this car. Yes, that's right, these are the DRLs, and they even act as the indicator for this car. As soon as you turn on the indicator, the DRL goes off and the indicator turns on. That is just some ingenious thinking from Porsche. It makes this car so subtle yet so cool, and that's something that I'm always in favor of. Now, the side profile of the Porsche Cayenne might as well be the only thing which hasn't changed from the previous generations. I mean, it's relatively the same design. If we talk about the ORVMs, we still have that curvaceous teardrop shape, which looks pretty nice. Although we do get a different type of alloy wheels, we get 20-inch multi-spokes designed alloy wheels, which look really nice and have a very sporty character to it. Other than that, it's just a simple Porsche Cayenne. And so moving on to the rear, as you can see, there is a lot of difference, and the difference is for the good. This car just looks so much more futuristic, so much more better now, because of its just simple designing cue of the tail lamps, which are connected, and they have a light bar going through over here. We also have the Porsche logo, or as you can say, badging, embossed inside that tail light lamp, which just looks so good. It has such a striking rear end that it just makes anyone fall in love with it instantly. Alright, I'm gonna start with the features of the Porsche Cayenne with the steering wheel over here. It's a beautiful leather wrapped steering wheel with metal inserts everywhere. Although we do have the use of plastic over here and here, but then the buttons are of really high quality. If you press them, they give a really satisfying click to it, which is something that I don't have a problem with, which is really nice. We also have the drive select scroll over here, which is very nice. It's a completely metal finished scroller over here with glass inserts inside, which is really cool to look at. Trust me when I say this, the camera is not doing justice to it. And then you can choose between drive, sport plus, I, and then once again drive. I is for individual. But one thing to notice over here is that when you choose the drive modes in this car, it even changes the sound of the engine even inside the cabin. I don't know if the camera is able to pick that up, but believe me when I say this, it really does change. And then what happens when you press this button? Well, when you press this button, as you can see, it says sports response. Now what this is, it's a really nice feature, and it's actually for overtaking slow vehicles, which means that when you're wanting to overtake a slow vehicle on the road, just press this one button and it will enable sports mode for just those 20 seconds, in which you can drive your car really fast with a instantaneous throttle response. But anyways, no Porsche steering wheel can ever be complete without the paddle shifters, which we are given over here. They're completely metal and have a very satisfying click to it when you click them, which is really nice. But one thing to notice over here is that they have given general paddle shifters this time around. If you see my other Porsche review, that is of the Porsche Cayenne, older variant of this car, they had given those kind of paddle shifters in which you can upshift and downshift with the same side, and they had given it on the both sides. You'll know what I mean. Just check that video out. I have linked it down in the description below. This time around they've given very generic paddle shifters, which to be honest I prefer. Now I would like to say that we do get two different displays in this car, that is the infotainment display and the center gauges display right now, but I have made a separate video for both the driver's display and the infotainment display. Both of them I have linked in the description below, so you can check them out if you want a detailed review of the driver's displays and the infotainment display of this car. Right, so moving on to the center console, you can see we have a bunch of different buttons over here, and one thing that I really like is that it's actually a screen, and so when you click it, they're all touchscreen buttons. Why I say button is because they have a haptic feedback to them. I don't know if you can check that out in camera, just listen to the noise it makes. It's as if you're pressing an actual button, but it's actually touchscreen, which I think is really cool. And it was also a feature that I saw in the Audis that I have reviewed, like such as the Audi A8L or the Audi Q8. If you want to check those out, there are links in the description for that as well. Do check them out. But seriously, they have done a really good job in making this whole thing. The build quality is just amazing. But anyways, if I talk about the buttons that you get, such as source, it's for the audio in this car, like FM, then we have our media, then we have our home. This is actually buttons for controlling the infotainment display. As you can see, if I press home over here, it takes me back to the home screen, and then we have our car settings over here, climate settings over here. Similarly, any button you press over here, it opens that up in the infotainment display. So that's pretty normal. But then we have our AC controls over here, once again very normal. Then we have our auto AC over here, max AC over here, and the air circulation over here, once again very normal. But then we have one feature over here, which is auto rest. Now what auto rest is, when you are going outside of the car and you are, say it's like a cold morning outside, right? So just press this button, and what it does, it actually takes out all the heat from the engine bay and it moves it over in the car, which makes this car stay warm. So that means when you're moving out and you're only getting groceries for say like 20 minutes, and it's only gonna take you 20 minutes, well, just take your groceries and come back in the car. Well, the car is just gonna be toasty hot, warm for you, so that you don't have any kind of discomfort, which is great thinking from Porsche. And then over here we have some buttons for the driving of this car, like the sports suspension and the traction control right there. And obviously we're not gonna miss the analog clock that we have in every single Porsche, and it looks so good. Obviously it's a sports luxury SUV, and the symbol for luxury is an analog clock right there. But I don't know what Porsche has done. It's like a fusion between digital and analog. The seconds over here is analog, but then the actual time is shown in digital over there. So I'm going to start the practicality with the glove box in this car, and once I open it, as you can see, it's a very large glove box, and obviously it's an SUV, we expect a large glove box. You can easily keep a lot of stuff inside it. It's ventilated, which is nice. For organization, we also have a pen/pencil holder over here, and for the infotainment display we also have an SD card and also a SIM slot over here, which is actually used for the data. If for example you put inside a SIM card in this car, you can actually turn on its mobile data, turn on internet in your infotainment display, which is just amazing. Moving on to the center console, behind all these options over here and next to the Cayenne metal badge, we have a storage cubby, preferably for keeping your mobile phone, and even without it you can keep a lot of stuff as it's quite deep. And just behind it we do have two cup holders along with a 12-volt charging socket. But because of the adjustable armrest in this car, when you adjust it to its fully extended position, it does cover up the cup holders, so do keep that in mind. But anyways, talking about the armrest, once you open it, as you can see, we have a very large storage cubby. You have a place for keeping your phone over here, some storage cubby over here, and you have two USB-C type ports over here for charging your phone. The door pockets of this car are also pretty big, and they're also lighted, so that's something cool. We have a bottle holder over here, we have a separate storage cubby over here, and some space for keeping, magazines. Moving to the rear seats, we have seat nets for the passenger and for the driver's side seat over here. Coming to the center console, under the climate controls, we have a 12-volt charging socket, two USB Type-C ports, and also a space for keeping your phone over here, which is also lighted. The armrest of this car can also be opened to reveal two cup holders which are large, and this one very small little cup holder, I guess. Now for the most important part of our practicality session, which has to do with the trunk. First, I'm going to talk about opening this car's trunk. First is on the key fob, second is a request sensor given over here, and third is a button that is given on the driver's side door. So if I press this button to open this car's trunk, as you can see, it's an electronic tailgate. But the thing is, it's actually going to stop over here, and so if I press this button once again, it goes up even further. So this is actually a safety precaution from Porsche. At the first stage, the tailgate only opens till the roof line of the car, which is actually a safety precaution so that the car trunk doesn't hit the lower ceilings if you're parked somewhere with a lower ceiling. But if you have more space, just press this button once again and it can even open further till this position, which as you can see is now okay. A 6'1" person can normally stand over here. But if we talk about the actual trunk space, as you can see, it's a very large trunk space. You can easily keep a lot of stuff in this trunk, and it's actually expected from an SUV of this size. For organization, you do have a net over here for keeping things over here. We also have a cargo tray for bringing this forward, and then you can keep some stuff over here, although just light stuff. I don't recommend keeping anything heavy over here. And then you can always remove this as well. But one feature that I do want to talk about is of these two buttons. So these two buttons are actually for adjusting the ride height of the back part of this car. Say you're lifting something really heavy and it's hard for you to pick it up so high and then keep it in the trunk. All you need to do is just press and hold this button. The car's back end would actually go down so that you don't have to pick that heavy stuff even higher to put it in. Once you put in your stuff, all you need to do is just press and hold this button and the car will go back to its initial position. It does take some time. Now, I know that this is a sports SUV and you want it for spirited driving, but it's also an SUV, a family car. So comfort is also a topmost priority for Porsche. If I talk about the seat materials of this car, they are genuine leather, really soft seats. They're of a really high quality. Once you just sit inside them, they really snug you into place. Going for a spirited drive, you won't be dangling around the car here and there, and you're going to have a very comfortable ride. Talking about the features such as moving the seat back and forth, the backrest back and forth, all of those features are automatic in this car. That is electronical, which is really nice. Also, one thing that I do like in this car is that the seat positioning is also really nice. Obviously, I can change the height of this car through the electronic controls, but even if I sit, I can very well see over the hood of this car. Driving this car won't be a problem for the driver in this car. Going on a long road trip, nor the driver nor the passenger is going to have any kind of problem. That's my personal guarantee. But coming into the rear seats of this car, you quickly realize that it's very spacious. I'm 6'1", pretty tall, and even still coming in the rear seats, I was just sitting in the front seat, you just saw, and I have easily 7 to 8 inches of leg space with me. Talking about headroom, thanks to the panoramic sunroof in this car, I have about an extra 2 inches, which brings up the total to, I don't know, 4 inches of head space. So in total, it's a very spacious car. Space-wise, you're not gonna have a problem. The seat material is the same as the front ones, so going on a long road trip, that's no problem. One big thing about this car that I really like comfort wise is that we have 4 zone climate controls in this car, so that's really nice. I can set the temperature according to me. I have an AC vent right here on the B pillar of this car, which blows air on my face. That's a comfortable feature that I really like. One other feature of this car that I really am in love with is of the sun blinds, automatic sun blinds, especially in a country such as India where the sun is really sharp. Well, just with the push of a button, the sun blind comes in place and you don't have any problem. But now let's move on to the middle seat and see what the situation is right over there. Now moving into the rear seat over here, The seat material is a little bit hard compared to the side seat, but not at all uncomfortable. You can easily sit over here, even an adult. The transmission tunnel is of decent height, not too high, not too low, but it's wide enough to keep both my feet on the transmission tunnel, which means that I can either sit with one leg on this side and one leg on this side, or just keep both my legs over here, which is a comfortable position as well. But then the under thigh support is really less. So all in all, what I can say is that if you're sitting in the rear seats of a Porsche Cayenne, the middle seat is preferably for a child, but an adult can also sit there for like 2 or 3 hours. But more than that might get a little uncomfortable. But in the side seats, it's okay. It's like great. And so that was a review of the 2020 Porsche Cayenne. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think about this video. Share this video as much as you can. And subscribe would massively help the channel. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.